Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Today I'm going to be talking about how to install a UV sterilizer for your system. Okay, so why am I using a UV sterilizer? The main reason is I want a more automated system. I'm not trying to fight dinos or algae blooms, but the UV sterilizer is a great, excellent tool that will help you with those types of organisms. All right. I read a lot and I watched a bunch of videos about UV sterilization. Now, keep in mind, my system is not a new system. It's a very old system. I had the system for over 6+ years already. Okay, and from all that time since I started the system, I had the UV system in the back of my head, but I never paid attention to it. I always thought that having a UV sterilizer was more work than it was worth it, right? Like everybody else, I fought algae, and sometimes, I'm super patient. I'm a very patient person. That's why I have this stuff. And fighting algae, you need patience in order to win it. If you're not a patient person, it's going to take everything from you, and you are going to end up giving up. All right, so I never use a UV sterilizer. I went other routes in the algae fight. I use refugium. I used algae scrubber. I used carbon dosing, and all the stuff seemed to work. And also I used the basic cleanup crew: snails, fish, sea cucumbers, that kind of stuff. All right. Now, why out of nowhere I decided to go with the UV sterilizer? All right. So not too long ago, I started noticing patches of brown algae growing into the sandbed. They were called, those were dinoflagellants, and I haven't seen them under a microscope, so I cannot identify which type it is. All right. Now, also in the glass of my tank, I usually clean it once a week, and it's growing a little bit faster than I wanted to have. Now, keep in mind, this is not going to take care of all the stuff that lives in the sandbed. It only controls the stuff that is free swimming. All right, that's very important. If you have stuff in the sandbed, such as dinos or any other type of algae that lives in the sandbed, this will not take care of it. You have to stir the sand once in a while and make sure like all the stuff goes and passes through the UV. Okay, so should I recommend a UV? No. I will not recommend a UV for beginners. A person that has years of experience, you will understand how to deal with this situation. But the UV sterilizer is not for beginners. That's it. It's not for the person that just got the tank and is ready to go, because you need to dial it, and also the maintenance that comes with the UV. It's a little bit too much. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the components that I bought for my setup. Those are not a top brand. but I try to go with a good quality stuff. In the years of experience that I have dealing with this stuff, I know if I go cheap, it's going to cost me more in the future. So from the beginning, I try to go with something that is going to last me a little bit longer, so I don't have to deal with, oh, it broke down, or I don't have a phone number to call, or you know what I mean. All right, guys, so hopefully you are going to enjoy this little clip that I'm going to show you of me installing the UV and what kind of stuff I got. Now, side note, it's been a huge time that I haven't post any videos, and I know I'm being slacking, but life got into the way. That's the best explanation that I can give you. Now, I'm not doing this stuff for fame, money, or whatever. I'm just doing it because I have free time and I like this stuff so much. So if you relate to it, good. now we're more than one, okay? Let me show you what I got. All right, guys, let's begin with this stuff. So this is the UV sterilizer that I got. This one is made from Aqua Ultraviolet, this UV sterilization. It's a very beefy unit. It's rated for 150 gallons. All right, so my system is roughly that. It's not even, I don't think I get close to 130. So it should be enough. Now keep in mind, there are several things when choosing a UV sterilizer. First of all is the size. Of course, you wanna be a little bit bigger than your normal water volume, but there are some things that you have to consider. Number one, and most important of all, is if you have space. Of course, my space is extremely limited. I'm going to show you in a minute what I meant by that. Second, when choosing the UV, you want to make sure that it has without the wiper. The wiper is for the fresh water. It's like a metal thing that goes inside the UV. You don't want that because it's going to rust. So that's important right there. Make sure, if you get in this brand, of course, I don't know about other brands, you don't get that. Okay, so that's the Aqua 150 gallons UV sterilization, and everything else comes in here. I have this is the bulb. The power unit, okay, and some propaganda for the company. All right, this is the pump that is going to run the UV. Overkill, yep, it is, but I trust that brand. And two reasons why I bought that pump. Reason number one, I can dial the input of the pump with application of Ecotech, Mobius application. So this unit requires a minimum of 400 gallons per hour. I will dial plus or minus 450 or 400, something like that. I can do that with this. That is one very important thing to keep in mind when having a UV. The flow rate. If you have a high flow rate, it's for something else. If you have a low flow rate, it's for the algae. I believe the high flow rate is for parasites such as egg, velvet, that kind of stuff. If you buy fish, quarantine your fish, do not rely on that. And the second reason for me getting this is if one of my other pumps fails by any reason, I don't think they will, but if they do, I have a spare one ready to go right here. This is the hardware, okay? Some other hardware for the pump. Now these right here are 3D printed cups. This stuff is I bought this, and it's going to hold like a crate platform for the pump. And last but not least, my own UV clamp. Oh man, I'm so proud of this. So in the market there are many types of clamps, right? The ones that I purchased like two types of clamps. They're expensive, and none of them fit the area that I have for my UV. None of them. I have to modify them. I have to do a lot of stuff. So I wasn't pleased with that, and so I decided, okay, heck with it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it and go from there. So I took some measurements and I ended up designing this. So it's aluminum and wood. It fits perfectly. The UV fits beautifully. So, and that's another reason why I don't recommend a UV for a beginner. Why? Because the UV, the housing, it has to be accessible. So when you have to change the bulb or change the sleeve that goes inside here, it has to be like right there in front of you. If you have it hidden, you are not going to pay attention to it. You're going to forget, and that is when this stuff doesn't work. They recommend to change that every 6 months. I don't know if I'm going to be able to change that every 6 months, because I have to buy this. This stuff costs like $70. I'm going to push it to 1 year, see what happens. That will be the experiment. Okay? All right, people. Let's get to work. Let's start installing this. All right, let's begin by installing the clamps. So, once again, I'm very proud of my work. Let's go. Not going anywhere. All right, so this is what I meant when I say you have to have full access to your unit when installing a UV sterilizer. I have other options for it, but none of them have I will be able to remove it this easily. All right, when it comes for me to change the light or the sleeve, it will be just right here. I don't have to go crazy places or try out disassemble half of the tank in order to get to my light or sleeve. All right. Okay, so that being done, now we are going to be working on the plumbing. All right. So after installing the UV, mounting the UV in the place that I wanted to stay, the next step is to go and start doing the plumbing, and also I have to think about where am I going to put the pump. So there's only one spot for me to put the pump. I don't know if you guys are watching my previous videos, and if you have, you might remember or seen this before. So this used to be my frac rack from my frac tank right there, and it's retiring. I'm going to get something better for that tank, and I'm going to reuse this black egg crate. So let me show you what am I going to do and where the pump is going to sit. So right here in the tank, the only spot available that I have for it is in this, I will say, in the middle chamber, which is right here. So the pump is going to sit right there, and it's going to provide the flow to the UV. The return of that is going to fall into the main pump chamber. All right, so all the water is going to go back to the main display. The other option might be to install it on the manifold from the main pump, but I don't have a way to determine the flow rate of it. All right, and besides, my pump is already is fitting too many things. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do that. All right, guys, I hope you like that little footage of me installing the UV sterilizer. A few things that I want to say before I go is that I'm using the UV as a tool, not a solution to control algae, diatoms, and dinos. All right, so I'm incorporating the UV with other things that I already have working for me. Those things are a good cleanup crew, snails, and sea cucumbers. The snails, they work great, and the sea cucumbers are a new addition that I got into the tank, and they work beautifully. They clean up the sand bed, and they help me a lot with diatom blooms. Now, what I'm going to do for the dinos is I'm going to stir the sand every time that I'm doing a water change, which is once a week. That is going to allow all the microorganisms to pass through the UV, and that way I will sterilize most of them. Okay, so now I'm not relying on the UV to control these microorganisms 100%. I just want them to be controlled in such a way that they don't become pests in my system. All right. Also, I mean, if you have enough time with a system, you will understand that it's sometimes battling with this kind of stuff is pointless. Like for instance, hair algae. At the beginning, when I first got my system, I used to hate it every time that I got algae blooms. First of all, I didn't understand the chemical process behind it, the phosphate and all that kind of stuff. And second, I didn't know why this stuff was coming in. every time that I remove it, it came. It came to a point that I was like very frustrated to it, right? As I went along and I understand more about the process and I understood more how this whole system works, I learned to live with it, not fight it. And now these days I use an algae scrubber, which basically I am producing algae and the algae scrubber. So it's an excellent tool for that purpose. It controls my phosphates, nitrates, while eliminating the algae. All right. So with the diatoms and the dinoflagellants is some similar a little bit, but I have to be careful because some of those organisms can be very deadly for the livestock. That's why I rather use the UV sterilizer to control the populations of it. Okay, I hope I make a little bit of sense. Okay, hey guys, thank you so much. If you watched the video to this long, I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit me with a comment. Tell me what you like, what you hate, and I'll do my best to show you something better next time. All right, guys, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.